Part 2: The Shadow of In-Laws, the Deep Love of a Mother-in-Law. The warm spring in Solnium village was still peaceful. Kian was becoming stronger day by day under the deep care of Madame Jungwon. Their relationship had transcended beyond just mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, becoming comfortable and natural like a mother and daughter who had been together for a long time. Kian was gradually finding her place in her work life, and amidst the busy daily routine, she would always find small moments of happiness. Upon returning home from work, she was always greeted by the warmth of the house and Madame Jungwon's warm smile. Like old friends, Madame Jungwon would listen to Chaeyeon's daily stories, and Kian would freely act childish in front of her mother-in-law.
Mother, today at work, I came up with a really clever idea and my team leader praised me a lot.
Oh, really? I always knew our Chaeyeon was smart. She's truly my daughter-in-law.
Madame Jungwon genuinely rejoiced in Chaeyeon's small successes, and quietly comforted her and encouraged her in times of failure and frustration. When Kian seemed tired, Madame Jungwon would secretly prepare her favorite side dishes or make her warm burdock tea to help her relax. All her actions were filled with an indescribable deep love. Kian suddenly thought, perhaps she understands me better than my own mother-in-law and loves me unconditionally. This thought brought her a sense of deep gratitude and relief rather than guilt. Chaeyeon's in-laws lived in a blue city, about 2 hours away by bus from Hanulshi. Her mother-in-law, Heesun, was a kind and strong woman, but due to being busy with household chores and looking after her children, she didn't have many opportunities to have deep conversations with Kian. The voice of her mother-in-law, whom she hadn't heard from in a long time, was unexpectedly shaky. Heesun cautiously mentioned health issues, saying she had recently been feeling unwell and needed further tests. Kian felt her heart sink. It was even more shocking because her mother-in-law had always been healthy. A few days later, Kian visited her in-law's house. Heesun still tried to act nonchalant, but her pale face and weakened appearance revealed her anxiety. The news from the hospital froze Chaeyeon's heart. The attending doctor cautiously mentioned the diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, stating that it was already in an advanced stage. Chaeyeon's mind went blank. Everything went dark before her eyes, and all sounds seemed to fade away. She barely regained her composure and asked the doctor questions. The doctor's answers were despairing. Surgery was possible, but due to the malignancy and late discovery, the costs and prognosis were not favorable. In the living room of the old apartment in the Blue City, Kian sat on the couch, staring blankly out the window. She could hear children playing outside, but it all felt distant to her. All colors of life seemed to disappear, leaving only black and gray. Her mother-in-law's illness weighed heavily on her. The hospital bills, surgical costs, and future treatment expenses. The money they had saved up after marriage was not much, and she felt guilty burdening her husband Junyong with all this. She hadn't told him about this yet. She didn't want to stress him out, and she didn't know how to break this devastating news to him. The thought of having to handle all this on her own plunged Kian into deep despair. One evening, Kian sat at the table and stared blankly at her rice bowl. She picked up her chopsticks, but couldn't bring herself to swallow the food. She had been unable to sleep for days, barely eating, and her face had lost its color. Jungwon, the lady of the house, noticed Chaeyeon's condition. She quietly sat next to Kian and held her hand.
Chaeyeon, what's been going on lately? Your face looks really bad. Did you have a fight with Junyong?
At Jungwon's warm yet sharp question, Kian reluctantly dropped the smile she had been trying to maintain. She struggled to contain the sadness and anxiety that had been building up inside her. Her eyes turned red, but she lowered her head. The words, "No, Mom," lingered in her throat, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Jungwon sensed that something serious was bothering Kian from the look in her eyes. She held Chaeyeon's hand even more warmly.
Whatever it is, don't suffer alone. We are a family now. Your sadness is my sadness. Your pain is my pain. Tell me everything. Mom will listen.
The word, Mom, struck a chord in Chaeyeon's heart. Like a dam bursting, all the emotions she had been holding back suddenly poured out. Kian couldn't hold back her tears any longer. She tearfully revealed the news of her birth mother's cancer diagnosis, Heeshan's condition, the bleak prognosis, and the overwhelming cost of treatment. Jungwon listened intently to everything Kian shared. Deep sorrow and sadness flickered across her face. Sympathizing with Chaeyeon's pain, a sense of moisture welled up in Jungwon's eyes. When Kian finished her story, Jungwon remained silent for a while. The dining table was filled with Chaeyeon's sobs and heavy sighs. Kian felt sorry for burdening Jungwon with her troubles. However, after a moment, Jungwon got up and headed to her room. Anxious, Kian watched her mother-in-law's back. She was afraid that her own unhappiness might become a burden to her, straining their relationship. Later, Jungwon returned to the living room. She held an old passbook in her hand. The worn-out passbook bore the marks of past years. Jungwon handed the passbook to Kian and looked deeply into her eyes as she spoke quietly.
Use this money to help pay for your birth mother's medical bills. This is like an emergency fund I've been saving up for a long time. You don't need to tell Junyoung about it yet. Saving your mother's life is the most important thing right now.
Kian looked down at the passbook in disbelief. The number, 20 million won, was clearly printed on it. 20 million won. It was a dream-like amount to Kian. She was too shocked and touched to say anything. Jungwon gently patted Chaeyeon's shoulder and reiterated,
Families should help each other. Your birth mother is like my own child. Go quickly and make sure your mother gets the surgery.
Jungwon's words melted Chaeyeon's frozen heart. Hot tears streamed down her face, not tears of sadness, but tears of overwhelming emotion and gratitude. Kian knelt down and hugged Jungwon tightly. She couldn't say anything, just sobbed and clung to Jungwon's clothes. Jungwon held Kian wordlessly in her arms. Their embrace became the warmest and safest sanctuary for sharing each other's sorrows and joys. The 20 million won was more than just material support, it symbolized Mrs. Jungwon's unconditional love and faith. In that moment, Chaeyeon keenly realized how blessed she was to live in such a great love. Her mother-in-law's indescribable love would deeply root in her life.
Up next, story explanation.
Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
This is where we take the material you share with us. It could be articles, research, maybe even your own notes.
Right.
And we really dig in, try to pull out the most important knowledge, the key insights, basically give you a shortcut to getting truly informed on something.
Think of us as maybe guides through that information overload. We're here to help you spot the bits that matter, those surprising connections maybe, those aha moments you might just miss otherwise.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into something, well, deeply personal, really quite moving.
Okay.
A listener shared parts of a story, which is adapted from real life, and it focuses intensely on family relationships.
Yeah.
Specifically, that often tricky dynamic between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law.
Yeah. That's a relationship that carries, well, a lot of weight, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of history, sometimes some really challenging expectations depending on the culture.
Absolutely. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore this story, starting with the first two parts we received. We want to kind of unpack the dynamics we see.
Understand what's going on there.
Yeah, see what insights it offers about, building connection, finding support, and maybe ultimately what defines family bonds when they're really put to the test.
Okay.
And like you said, this is adapted from real life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a multi-part story, so today is just the beginning.
Got it. And that based on real life aspect, as the source material points out, often gives these stories a particular kind of emotional truth, a resonance.
Definitely. Okay, so let's get into it. Part 1. It starts with Sayun. She's 29, newly married.
Right.
And she's moving into this traditional house in a place called Solneum Village.
Mm.
The plan is she's going to live with her husband, Yeonjun's family specifically, his mother Youngwon.
Okay, living with the in-laws. And the source immediately flags Sayun's feelings about this. She's got some apprehension.
Yeah, understandable.
She'd really hoped for an independent life, and the idea of sharing a house with her mother-in-law, it felt maybe a bit daunting, potentially, burdensome even.
Right, especially if you're dreaming of your own space as newlyweds. But Yeonjun, her husband, he's described as being really reassuring.
He tries to smooth things over.
Yeah, he keeps telling Sayun his mom is just incredibly warm, like the kindest person.
Yeah.
And his own deep trust in his mother seems to be the first little clue for Sayun that, maybe this won't be what she expects.
And the story wastes no time showing Youngwon living up to that description. It paints this picture of her getting up before dawn, making breakfast. Then the moment Sayun gets up, food's ready, Youngwon's right there.
And we get her actual words, which really helps feel the warmth. She says, "Oh no, Honjo,
Yeah.
Yeonjo."
Which means something like, "Oh my, our Xion is awake. Come eat breakfast. Did you sleep well?"
Just that simple interaction. It's quite powerful, isn't it? It's not just about the food.
No, it's presence. It's noticing her, showing immediate care. It really sets a tone.
It does. And the source even mentions Sayun initially found this warmth almost overwhelming. Like she wondered if she deserved it.
Which really speaks volumes about those pre-existing, maybe negative expectations about mother's-in-law, right?
Totally. But what's fascinating is how Youngwon keeps building this connection. There's this great little story in part 1. Sayun made a mistake at work. She's really anxious.
Okay.
Visibly upset at dinner. Youngwon picks up on it, naturally. But instead of just saying, "Oh, don't worry," she shares her own past mistakes.
Oh, okay. Like what?
Like putting sugar in doenjang jjigae, which is a savory stew.
Whoops. Yeah.
Burning the rice, relatable kitchen mishaps.
Huh. Okay, but as a mother-in-law, sharing your own slip-ups, what does that achieve? Why is that significant?
Well, it completely humanizes her, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes her off a pedestal.
Right. It says mistakes are normal, part of learning. She's not judging Sayun. She's saying, hey, I mess up too. And her words that follow are just. Well, listen to this. Go. Go. Ga Hongju. Honk you show. Oh, you show go. Ooh, go, go, go. Incredible guidance, really. It shifts Seon's anxiety from, I failed, to, okay, what can I learn? It's wisdom, not criticism.
And that fundamentally changes the dynamic, doesn't it? Moves
Right.
away from, say, a hierarchical thing where the mother-in-law expects perfection, more of mentorship, sharing experience, encouraging growth. It builds trust through vulnerability, sharing perfection.
Yeah, exactly. And part 1 is filled with these smaller, consistent things, too. Like Youngwon respecting Seon's sleep schedule because she wasn't an early bird.
That's important.
Or quietly buying her favorite brand of coffee.
See, those details are key. They show it's not just a performance of kindness. She's actually observing Sayun as an individual.
Pay attention.
Yeah, and adjusting her own actions to show respect for Sayun's preferences, her habits. It's active consideration.
And she even seems to kind of shield Sayun a bit from some of the more traditional village expectations about daughters-in-law. Like not pushing her to go to every single event if she was wiped out from work.
Right. So part 1 really lays this unexpected groundwork. Despite Sayun's initial nerves, Youngwon's consistent warmth, her genuine care, that vulnerability, and her wisdom, they all help Sayun start to see her not just as, my husband's mother, but as a real mother figure. It creates this feeling of belonging.
A really warm start.
Yeah.
But that peace and warmth established so nicely in part 1, well, it's crucial. Because part 2 shows that even the best relationships face challenges from the outside.
Yeah. That strong foundation is about to get tested.
Definitely. The story moves on, showing that the bond has deepened even more. Sayun actually feels closer to Youngwon now than to her own birth mother.
Wow. Okay. That's significant.
Yeah, the text describes their relationship as really comfortable, really close. Sayun feels okay sharing her work successes with Youngwon.
There's that quote, right? Where Sayun says, "Oyo,
Which is like, Mother, guess what happened at work today? I had this brilliant idea, and my team leader totally praised me.
Just bursting with excitement.
Yeah, and Youngwon's response is pure pride. Oh, yo, young. Oh, yo, yo. Oh, yo. Oh, yo, young. Oh, yo, go, go. Oh, yo, yo. Oh, yo, yo. Oh, yo, yo. Oh, you wait. Like, oh my gosh, really? I always knew our Cheon was smart as my daughter-in-law. It's that easy, proud back and forth you'd expect, maybe, between a daughter and her own mom, right?
Exactly. It really shows how far they've come from Seon's initial hesitation. Youngwon's genuinely celebrating Seon's wins like they're her own family's wins.
So this strong, almost idyllic bond is firmly in place. And then the bad news hits.
Okay.
Seon gets a phone call. It's from her birth mother, Hee-seon. She mentions needing more medical tests.
And right away, you feel the shadow creeping in from outside the cozy family unit Seon's found.
Seon goes to visit her mom, and that's when she gets the diagnosis. It's devastating. Pancreatic cancer.
Oh, wow.
Advanced stage. The prognosis is grim, and the treatment costs are astronomical.
Oh, no.
The story really emphasizes Seon's reaction, just overwhelming despair. Her mind goes blank. She's terrified about the money, doesn't want to burden Yeonjun.
Feels completely alone with it.
Utterly alone. Even though she's in this loving home, this specific crisis feels like hers alone to carry.
That's such a heavy weight. And does Jungwon notice?
Oh, yeah. Just like she noticed the work anxiety, Jungwon sees the change in Seon. Loss of appetite, pale face.
She's observant?
Very. She doesn't push immediately, but you can tell she's concerned. She's watching, giving space, but making it clear she sees something's wrong.
Letting her know she's there.
Exactly. Then comes this really pivotal moment. Youngwon gently, kindly asks Seon what's wrong.
And Seon tries to hide it.
At first, yeah. Maybe habit, maybe shame, maybe just the sheer weight of it all. But she breaks down when Youngwon offers this incredible, unconditional support. Youngwon says, Yuza ya. Oh, Joko. Oh, Joko. Oh, okay, let's break that down. Whatever it is, don't suffer alone. We're family now, aren't we? Your sorrow is my sorrow. Your pain is my pain. Tell me anything. Mom will listen.
The use of mom there. That feels huge.
It's incredibly significant. It's like an explicit invitation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Into that truly maternal space. It just dissolves any remaining formality or distance of being in-laws. It's a declaration. I am your mother now. I'm here for you like a mother.
Your sorrow is my sorrow. What does that specific phrase tell you about Jungwon's idea of family? It's expansive. It's saying the boundaries of her care, her love, they extend beyond just her biological kids and their spouse, right? That spouse's own family. It's this radical act of inclusion. Seon's birth mother's crisis becomes her family's crisis, too.
And with that door blown wide open, Seon just lets it all out. The illness, the prognosis, the crushing financial fear. Youngwon just listens. And the text says she shares Seon's deep sadness.
She's not just hearing the facts, she's taking on the emotional weight. That shared vulnerability right in the face of terrible news, it must just cement their bond even more.
But Youngwon, she doesn't stop at just emotional support. This is the part that just floors you. It shows the depth of this love. She gets up, goes to her room, and comes back with an old bank book.
An old bank book. That always signals something important, doesn't it? Something saved up.
Exactly. And the amount, 20 million won.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of money. And it's described as emergency savings she'd collected for a long time.
Yes, that detail about it being long-saved emergency funds, it really underlines the scale of the sacrifice.
This wasn't just spare cash lying around. This was likely her safety net, maybe for her own future or her kids.
And she just gives it to Seon, tells her. Here, use this for your mother's hospital bills. It's emergency money I saved for a long time. You don't have to tell our Yeonjun yet. Right now, saving your mother is the most important thing.
Just extraordinary on so many levels.
It really is. Providing the critical funds and taking away the immediate pressure for Seon to explain it all to her husband. She's just laser focused on Seon's need, her mother's health, above potentially tricky family discussions even.
And then she delivers this line that, for me, is the absolute core of this part of the story. Family helps each other and stays together. Your birth mother is like my own child.
Wow.
That one sentence, It just redefines family, doesn't it? It completely dissolves the usual boundaries between in-laws and the birth family. It's saying Sane's mother isn't just Sane's problem. She's part of their extended family unit now, deserving the same care as Jungwon's own kids. It's love without borders, without conventional limits.
And Sane's reaction.
It's just
tears streaming down, hugging Jungwon. It's the moment she truly gets it, the immense unconditional nature of the support she's found.
It's like the foundation built in part one, that warmth. It wasn't just for the good times, it was the bedrock. It was a deep well of support, ready when tragedy struck. It meets the ultimate test in part two.
Looking at all this, how does Jungwon's action just completely challenge the typical expectations of a mother-in-law? It goes so far beyond what society often portrays or what people might brace themselves for.
Oh, it flips the script entirely. I mean, instead of potential distance or judgment or feeling like there's an obligation, this is radical empathy. It's generosity. Complete inclusion. It shows family isn't just blood or marriage vows. It's built through shared love, mutual support, and actually showing up for each other when things get really, really hard.
And it wasn't just the money, was it? I mean, the 20 million one is huge.
Yeah.
Obviously life-altering. But Jungwon's presence, her listening, her words, the hug, that emotional support when Sayan was just crumbling, that seems equally vital.
Absolutely crucial. The money offered a practical path forward, sure, but the emotional support gave Sayan the strength to even take that path. It shows how real care often weaves together the practical and the emotional. You can't really separate them.
This story really makes you think about where our deepest support networks actually come from, doesn't it?
It does.
Sometimes it's not necessarily the person you've known the longest, but the person who truly shows up when you need them the most.
Yeah, it definitely challenges our assumptions about roles and expectations within families.
So part two leaves us on this incredibly powerful note: connection, sacrifice, support. But the story's clearly not over. This huge act really sets the stage for how they navigate this crisis together.
Right. We're left wondering, okay, what happens next? With the treatment for Sane's mother, now that there's money, how does Sane manage the emotional toll of all this, even with Jungwon's support?
And will Yeon, her husband, find out about this massive financial help from his mother? How will he react?
Big questions.
Yeah.
And how does this extraordinary event, this act of love that basically redefines their family, how does that shape their future relationship, especially Sayon and Jungwon's?
The story definitely promises to keep exploring these deep bonds as they face this challenge.
Yeah, it takes that unexpected warmth from part one and immediately tests its strength with this major life crisis. And it proves just how resilient, how profound that connection has become.
So wrapping up this deep dive into the beginning of Sayan's story, the core takeaway really is that extraordinary depth of love and support from Jungwon.
Yeah.
It transforms a relationship that's often, burdened by expectations into something genuinely maternal, powerful, and unconditional.
And it really pushes us, I think, to consider that question: what truly makes a family? Is it always about blood? Or can it be built, moment by moment through shared experiences, through radical empathy, and just unconditional support, especially when you're facing the absolute hardest parts of life?
A powerful thought to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Thank you.
We hope you'll join us next time as we continue to explore this remarkable story.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us create even better content.